Former football coach Mike Ditka has some choice words for the take a knee crowd. While Portland Democrats oppose federal help, the city endures another weekend of riots. Plus, Chief Justice John Roberts shows once again that he is no friend to conservatives. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with what's going on in the NFL and some choice words from Mike Ditka. Because as you know, with Black Lives Matter, the NFL has caved in a big way. National anthem kneeling is back. They are supporting it. And not only are they supporting it, you remember just a couple of years ago, people were tuning out. And they saw it. They saw the ratings. They said, man, we can't do this. You guys can't kneel. We can't do this. Now, totally different. Everyone's caving into BLM and pushing this anthem kneeling, take a knee movement. The NFL is adopting social justice programs left and right. And they're not the only ones. We saw with the NBA, they've got woke jerseys now. Instead of your name on the back, you can choose social justice messages. You can have Black Lives Matter, but you can't have All Lives Matter. You can have some Marxist slogans, but you can't have Make America Great Again. And that's just the NFL. Everyone is jumping on board. I showed it on Friday, throwing out the first pitch. This is Dr. Anthony Fauci over at the Nationals game. Look at the logo. Instead of MLB, it's BLM. Just look at that. And then the players' warm-up t-shirts, Black Lives Matter. Everyone is buying into this movement that is based on a lie, based on untrue stats, based on this notion that police are out there targeting unarmed black suspects when it's not true. There's no data to support it. In fact, it's actually worse for whites. It's just absolutely unreal. But the NFL has bought into it. The Major League Baseball has bought into it. The NBA, just look at this. This is the WNBA. This is before a game. Check out this team.
Anthem was played. We saw the players leave the floor, go back to their respective locker rooms. One of those actions we'll see throughout the season as part of the social justice initiative.
Yeah, first of many ways that we will see WNBA players using their voices all season long. This is nothing new for these women. They have been proactive when it comes to speaking out on social injustices for the life of the WNBA.
Yeah,
I mean, what is that? They just walk out. The national anthem starts to play in their empty stadium. I guess they don't need to worry about, operating at 50% capacity because they don't even draw that. But they just walk out during the national anthem. It's outrageous. It's disgusting. And yet that's what's going on. And everyone is buying into it. Well, we got now Coach Mike Ditka, who is the chairman of the X League. And that is going to be, or is, a women's football league that he's trying to grow, trying to get popular, trying to get out there. He was speaking to TMZ Sports, and the topic of national anthem kneeling came up.
The whole kneeling thing in the NFL, you got guys saying that they're going to do it. I'm seeing all these baseball players now, different teams. Last night watching baseball, you got the Reds kneeling, the A's, the Giants. A lot of teams are kneeling. Athletes are kneeling. In your league here, you're the chairman of this thing. Is that going to be allowed if the women want to take a knee during the anthem?
Yep, like I said, it seems like every pro sports league is bowing to the Black Lives Matter movement. Well, what about the X League? What's Mike Ditka going to do? Here's his opinion. Here's his thoughts.
Well, if it was up to me, I'd say no. If you can't respect our national anthem, get the hell out of the country.
That's absolutely awesome. And I wish more people would think like that. I wish more people would think like Ditka and speak out. And the problem is that what's probably going on is there are people like that. There are people out there, but the ones in power, the ones that speak out, the CEOs of these companies, the leaders of these sports leagues, these commissioners, all of them have bought into the movement. All of them are afraid to speak out and say, wait a second, the stats don't support your movement. This whole thing started in Ferguson, and that was not true. This guy the cop didn't attack Michael Brown. He didn't just go shoot him for no reason. Brown was high on drugs, robbed a store, tried to take the officer's weapon, would not listen, attacked the police officer. And from that, Black Lives Matter is born, and they keep on going and going and going. The stats are not in their favor. No systemic racism. And yet, no one will stand up. Mike Ditka seems to be the only one in sports speaking out. And here's more from Ditka.
I think there's a way that you protest and there's a way you don't protest. You don't protest against the flag. You don't protest against this country who's given you the opportunity to make a living playing a sport that you never thought would happen. So I don't want to hear all the crap.
All right, I just love it when people tell it like it is. And we need more Ditkas out there, folks. We need more people standing up to the Black Lives Matter movement. If you read about them, if you check out even their website, they are run by Marxists. Part of their ideals, part of their end goal is to destroy the nuclear family. They state that. That has nothing to do with police reform. It is a Marxist agenda from top to bottom, masked as police reform. It's absolutely outrageous. And in every sport, now we have to see it. We have to see it everywhere because no one is willing to stand up. Hopefully Mike Ditka's message will actually spread and people will stand for the national anthem like they should. All right, so next we're going to talk about Portland. But if you're new to the show or if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. We're making our push for 100,000 subscribers by Election Day, 100K by Election Day, and we can do it with your help. All right, so now we're going to talk about Portland because it is in its seventh week, folks, of riots and protests. Nonstop, 60 days. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And yet, they don't want any help. They reject help from the feds. The state has tried to sue to keep the feds from doing anything there. People now, Ground Zero has become a federal courthouse. It was fenced off, and yet people are attacking it. They're throwing objects, frozen water bottles, fireworks, worse even, at these officers, attacking the property, attacking the officers, and yet the state says, we don't want those officers to do anything. We don't want them here. Well, a ruling came out Friday that says, not so fast. And here's the story. Democrats led by Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler have blasted the Department of Homeland Security for bringing in federal law enforcement officers to protect the federal buildings in Portland from attacks, while DHS Acting Secretary Chad Wolf has said Portland officials have done nothing to block the fire-setting, window-breaking vandals. A federal judge denied Friday a request from the Oregon Attorney General to stop federal agents from arresting rioters, ruling that the state lacks standing to sue on behalf of the protest crowds laying siege to federal buildings in Portland. That was awesome. That sounds like common sense to me. Well, Portland's Attorney General, Ellen Rosenblum, she put out a statement saying how bad it was, siding with the protesters in all of this. And here's her comments. The stakes in this case are high, and I am disappointed that Judge Mossman did not rule in favor of a TRO and found instead that we lack standing to bring the case in the first place, said Ms. Rosenblum. I believe all Oregonians have a right to know which federal law enforcement agencies are policing our streets and why are they detaining peaceful protesters. Wow. Peaceful protesters? Peaceful protesters don't show up wearing helmets. They don't destroy property. Peaceful protesters don't attack the police officers and try and tear down fences and throw fireworks, frozen water bottles at cops. They don't do that. That's not a peaceful protest. That's rioting. That's vandalism. That's just thug mentality, mob mentality, and she's supporting them. And in all of this, in all of their efforts to reject federal help when they're not doing anything, another weekend of unrest. Riots declared this past weekend in Portland, and here's the story from the Daily Caller. The Portland Police Department declared Saturday's protest a riot after members of the crowd successfully tore down fencing in front of the federal courthouse. Saturday evening began with two crowds, one stationed in front of the Mark O. Hatfield Federal Courthouse and another marching from Alberta Park. The two groups converged at the courthouse just after 11 p.m., with the Alberta Park group arriving as a standoff had already begun between protesters and federal officers. So the Daily Caller has folks down there. They have reporters taking video footage, and just check out some of it. See, I mean, just look at that footage. Again, you don't need to wear a helmet to peacefully protest. And this line of people with shields, they came to a peaceful protest with shields to advance on police officers. Does that sound like peaceful protesting? When you do anything involving a law enforcement official, when you come with a shield to confront a law enforcement official, do you think that's going to end peacefully? Do you think it's peaceful in general to have that confrontation? It makes no sense at all, yet they come armed with these objects, with helmets, with shields, and these people are called peaceful protesters. It's absolutely outrageous, and that's what's been going on week after week after week in Portland and in cities across America. The Democrats have lost control. They don't want control. They want this chaos to disrupt the election, to bring down President Trump, and advance chaos and anarchy. That's what we are seeing, and it's absolutely outrageous. So next, we're going to talk about outrageous. We're going to talk about Supreme Court Justice John Roberts, because Friday, a ruling came out, and it was almost like it felt so political to me. I mean, there's a lot of times when Obama administration, or it doesn't matter, if they put a policy out there that they think might be controversial, they'll drop it on a Friday afternoon, because then the news doesn't pick it up and it dies over the weekend. The Supreme Court did the exact same thing. They put out this ruling. They ruled against a church in Nevada, and they put it out late Friday. They put out this ruling saying, we don't side with the church. We side with the state of Nevada. And what the ruling was they let casinos, restaurants, other businesses operate at one capacity, and they have a different rule for churches. And John Roberts sided with this Bush appointee, supposed to be a conservative, has sided once again with the left-wing court. The left-wing side, a 5-4 ruling, and here's the details. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled against a Nevada church's request to allow more congregants than currently allowed under coronavirus mitigation rules in the state. Justices voted 5-4 against the challenge of the state law that places a 50-person limit on places of worship during the pandemic. The Calvary Chapel Dayton Valley challenged the state's rule, saying it's unfair to houses of worship because other businesses such as restaurants, casinos, and amusement parks were limited to 50% of capacity. So you see what's happening here? Nevada is discriminating against churches. They have one set of rules for casinos, another set for churches, and it all goes into this idea, this mentality of the left to push out things that bind us together. Faith, family, freedom, they are all against it. And here is a way that they've discovered through these months where coronavirus lockdowns are happening that we can keep people out of church. It's outrageous. All these other places, restaurants, casinos, they can operate at 50% capacity. Churches are limited to 50 people total. It makes absolutely no sense. John Roberts sided with the left on this, just like he did with Obamacare, just like he did with the recent LGBTQ ruling, and now this one. It's absolutely outrageous. They didn't put any description, any statement out on the reasons for their ruling, but the dissenters, they had plenty to say, and here's some comments from Samuel Alito. The Constitution guarantees the free exercise of religion, he wrote. It says nothing about the freedom to play craps or blackjack, to feed tokens into a slot machine, or to engage in any other game of chance. But the governor of Nevada apparently has different priorities. That Nevada would discriminate in favor of the powerful gaming industry and its employees may not come as a surprise, but this court's willingness to allow such discrimination is disappointing. We have a duty to defend the Constitution, and even a public health emergency does not absolve us of that responsibility. What a mess. And once again, John Roberts, you can see the clear difference in this case, what is constitutional and what isn't, and he adopts a political posture. It's just nuts, folks. And this is why we need to keep President Trump in office, why we need more conservatives on the court, up and down, not even just the Supreme Court. He's doing a great job. But those of you out there who think Joe Biden would do this, give me a break. It would totally turn the tide, and we'll get more and more bad rulings. We need more conservatives there, not fewer. And if we can get a replacement for Ginsburg to counteract Roberts, that's what we need. So next, I want to talk about some politics. What's going on in Washington? They're negotiating a coronavirus bill, the next aid package, And it's just Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats want to keep the country closed. They want to keep schools closed. They want to keep businesses closed. Just pour more money at people, some making more than they were before. And that's what Senator Ted Cruz, who was talking yesterday on CBS's Face the Nation, that's what he was talking about with the current unemployment insurance program and how it's been working with the additions from coronavirus aid. And here's Senator Cruz.
Problem is, for 68% of people receiving it right now, they are being paid more on unemployment than they made in their job. And I'll tell you, I've spoken to small business owners all over the state of Texas who are trying to reopen, and they're calling their waiters and waitresses, they're calling their busboys, and they won't come back. And of course they won't come back because the federal government is paying, in some instances, twice as much money to stay home.
So you see, what kind of plan is that when people make more staying home? 68% of those people on this program are making more than they did when they were on the job, when they were actually working. And Nancy Pelosi wants to continue this program. She wants to expand this program, and it's absolutely outrageous. Here's more from Senator Cruz.
I am on board with restarting the economy. What Democrats want to do, we're 100 days out from the presidential election. The only objective Democrats have is to defeat Donald Trump. And they've cynically decided the best way to defeat Donald Trump is shut down every business in America, shut down every school in America.
So that's the plan, folks. Keep businesses closed, keep schools closed. The whole school closure thing it's just another outrageous aspect of it. Pediatricians have come out saying it's safe for kids to go to school. Other medical experts have come out saying it's safe for kids to go to school. 22 European countries have kids back in school, yet teachers' unions, yet the left, Democrats, media, they're all talking about how dangerous it is. And it's all bogus, folks. It's all political. The LA Teachers Union put out a statement a couple weeks ago talking about we can't bring kids back in school, but we can defund the police. They're getting political and not caring about actual public health. Again, it's just nuts. We need to get the economy going. We need to get kids back in school. And Senator Ted Cruz was right on. So that wraps up our show today. And for all of you who tuned in Saturday, I apologize. We're going to get Alan West back. We had some crazy stuff. We had tropical storm coming in that was actually hitting Alan West worse than us. But with those technical glitches, we are going to reschedule. And folks, he was going to be an awesome guest. Talking before the show, he's fascinating. He is so good. We're going to bring him back, and I thank you all for tuning in. But before you go today, please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching, and before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified, and here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.